Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in the Amagi. Now this is something that I don't play don't play much anymore, but used to be something I played a lot of. And I'll be honest, if it keeps treating me the way it has in recent plays, I'm probably going to be playing this thing quite a bit more. So be on the lookout. But this thing's been fantastic lately. I actually have been quite enjoying the Amagi. I don't know. It's one of those ships, I know that it's going to go one of two ways. It's either going to completely screw you over and make you miserable, or it's going to be absolutely amazing. There doesn't seem to be much middle ground with the Amagi. And that's both a blessing and a curse. Now this first match you're going to see is going to be an absolutely ridiculous game. Not necessarily for me, even though I'm going to have a pretty solid game too. But it's going to be a ridiculous game because we get a couple of different things happen. First of all, the enemy does the dumbest thing I've ever seen anybody do on this map. Everybody pretty much knows how this map plays out, right? Like, everybody knows. So what the enemy does in the lack of destroyers here is mind-boggling. Like, there are certain ships that you just know you cannot push into the center of a map on, especially early on. And then there are ships that you know that if you do this, you're a dead man, okay? Like, you just can't do it. You don't have a destroyer to spot, first of all, so you have no idea what's waiting for you if you decide to push into the center, okay? And the fact that they know this and they still do it is beyond ridiculous. So we're going to push ourselves up into a position where we can get crossfires into the middle, because I had a suspicion that the enemy was going to do something like this. And unfortunately, they just happened to wait long enough for me to get behind the island before they start their push, which means I miss out on quite a bit of damage here. But as you can see, Bismarck spotted, Nagato spotted, both of them headed straight into the middle. So we are going to try to put ourselves in a position between this first island and the second island to crossfire them as they try to make their push. I don't know why they made this push, but I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. And this, I think is it a Massachusetts right in front of me? Yeah, well, I mean, that's a Massachusetts. Massachusetts sitting out there just begging for it. We're going to reach out, touch him, show him the error of his ways. Wait for it. And not a huge hit, just 10,000 damage to start with. Alabama is right in front of me. But you can see Nagato's already been chunked. And unfortunately for him, he has no idea how much more he's about to lose very quickly. As I believe the Vladivostok just hit him. And now I'm going to get a shot through the gap at him. And look at that dispersion, folks. It's not the greatest dispersion, but it's pretty solid. And we absolutely punch him. Now, we want to hit towards the back of Japanese battleships, generally, in order to get those citadel hits, because they have a little bulge in the back that's above the waterline, and they have turtleback armor. So, or at least, I think the Nagato and the Amagi have turtleback armor. So you've got to actually pay attention there. Now, this Indianapolis, this man just saves his own life. Now, Vladivostok just got his first kill. Keep an eye on that Vladivostok. This man's going to get the most ridiculous RNG I've ever seen out of a Vladivostok. Okay, that's all I can say. This man's going to get the best RNG I've ever seen out of a Vladivostok. And I really, really wish that I got, like, just half the RNG that man gets in this game. Maybe I would play the Vladdy more often, but good lord. Indianapolis gets away for a little bit. We got a nice chunk on him, but then this Bismarck just gift wraps himself. And between me, the Alabama, and the Vladivostok, this man never had a chance, as he just gets chunked for literally everything in seconds. Like, he made one mistake, gave himself up, and lost all of his hit points because of a crossfire. And now that we recognize that those guys are turning out, our opportunities to crossfire are less. We need to start pushing forward. We have the numbers on this side. There is no reason for us to push forward. But notice, on the minimap, there is a cruiser hiding around the corner. And it's an Edinburgh. What is so special about an Edinburgh? First of all, it's got a 30mm bow, which means I cannot overmatch him. And secondly, he has torpedoes. But not just torpedoes, he has fantastic torp launch angles, and he has the ability to stack his torpedoes, meaning I've got to be extremely careful. So rather than just charge around the corner willy-nilly, I turn out, to use this island as a shield for the inevitable push that this Edinburgh is waiting for. This Edinburgh had one goal on his mind, and that is to wait for a battleship to get close and YOLO torp him. Now, unfortunately for the Edinburgh, this does not work out quite as the way he intended, because in order to torp, you do have to give up your bow, and when you do that, I will be ready. And sure enough, he comes around the corner, we take the shot, and we take all of his health, but in true Spartan fashion, we leave him with just enough to get his torps away. Now, I know that this guy is trying to torp me, and I know that he's going to be torping the gap ahead of me, so I am slowing down. I'm in full reverse. I'm turning all the way in. I am doing everything in my power to get ready to stop and avoid these torpedoes. But then I was like, well, I don't know exactly when he launched, so I better start moving. I don't want to take all of them. I'd rather take one, maybe two, worst case scenario. And sure enough, we get them spotted, and one of them hits the island. The other two, we're going to take one for sure, and are we going to be able to slip it? No, nope. It hits the back of the ship. But it's okay. We had our damage con, so no flood. We don't have to worry about that. We get the damage con off, we push up. Now, why are we pushing so heavily here? First of all, it's just an Iowa holding us back. There's a Massachusetts behind an island, and there's a Suja behind the island. If we sit back, we allow the Massachusetts and the Suja to continue to fight us from behind the island, which is a huge advantage for them, as we get 10,000 damage in the superstructure of the Iowa as he reverses away. So by pushing this cap, knowing that the Iowa is really the only thing that can hit me, we're completely taking these other two ships out of the fight unless they give themselves up. And if they do that, I will be the first to congratulate them and send them back to port. Now, again, we push into the cap. We're denying them their only cap at this point. They've completely given up this side of the map. And we are now going to be pushing ourselves. Now, I've got to be careful here. Of course, we fire at the Iowa again, and the Hipper comes out broadside on. I'm just like, really? I could have absolutely removed that man. But I digress. It isn't what happened. So, we're turning in to angle against the Iowa and the Hipper, because I know the Hipper likes to shoot AP as well. So, we're going to turn in to try to get it to negate as much of that damage as possible. And somebody takes a shot at the Hipper, and as soon as I get ready to fire, he's already turning out, and he gets blapped. And I'm fairly confident, once again, that that was the Vladivostok punching that man in the mouth. Like I said, dude had the most godly dispersion I've ever seen out of a Vladdy, especially at any sort of range. Like, it's not like the man is front and center and sitting here slinging. No, this man is at, like, 18 kilometers from those guys and hitting them that hard. Wish my Vladdy did that. But that being said, Vladdy gets another shot over the island and absolutely removes the Suja from existence. So we get a little bit of help from the teammates with our spotter plane doing the spotting. And of course, Massachusetts, I am salivating right now. I'm like, okay, we got this. We're going to be able to come around the corner. He's already broadside. He can't really do anything about this. This is Dev Strike. Well, it would be if he had enough health, but everybody's chipping away at his health. And look at this shot. It is beautifully placed right where it needs to be. And this is the one that the game decides to say nope on. Like, really? I'm 3.5 kilometers away from a broadside battleship and I get 4 hits out of a 10-gun salvo? Really? That's messed up. But unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. And we didn't capture that base. We're going to continue to force these guys out. We've got the win. Alright, we've got the points lead. We've got these guys up on the ropes. They're not even trying to capture a base. The last 3 guys on their team. Hello, Bismarck. And that was pretty awful as well. But again, another Bismarck just sitting there broadside on, just thinking he can get away with it. Turtleback armor will not save you. Okay? Like, turtleback armor does not protect you from stupidity. It just doesn't. So, sitting broadside in a battleship to everybody on the enemy team is a quick way to find your way back to port. As we finally get a salvo that actually hits the target. Getting 6 penetrations out of that one at 12 kilometers, but we couldn't hit the guy at 3.5. You gotta love it. RNG giveth, and RNG taketh away. That's just the way it goes. But Bismarck, once again, absolutely just staying broadside, doesn't care. And before my shells get there, unfortunately, they're going to finish him off. And Vladivostok gets his Confederate. Again, I'm telling you, that man had godly RNG. I wish I could get that man's RNG. I don't know what it was about that Vladdy, but he was hitting every single shot. But either way, we're still pushing out here. We got the Hipper. We know the Hipper doesn't have that much health left. We watched how much health he lost. And Iowa, you're going to die eventually. Okay, you got HE spammers on you. You got battleships shooting at you. You got me pushing the objective, like pushing towards you. We've got two caps to none, so we're going to maintain our points lead. I just want to kill these guys. And there's my Confederate on top of what we've already done. And yeah, I mean, this is just one of those games where everything works out and your team actually moves up with you and supports you, and you just steamroll them. There's no other way around it. Like, we steamrolled this team, and we still did a pretty solid game. It's not an amazing game by any stretch of the imagination, as we try to predict what this Hipper's going to do. We place the shot out. Are we going to catch him? It looks pretty solid. Come on, get down! Get down, shells! Why do they hang in the air so long? And we get nothing. It's just unfortunate. But, yeah. Not going to take another shot at that Hipper. He looks like he's about to die to our cruisers, so Iowa comes out here. He starts to over-rotate to get the rear guns involved, and we're going to make sure that he doesn't remember that that's a bad idea. So we take a shot into the superstructure, and again, as he gets angled, and he just eats it. I mean, American and German battleship superstructures, am I right, guys? It just eats the penetrations, and he's not long for this world. So we end up finishing this game with 121,455 damage. Not an amazing game, but it's just a good game to showcase that you don't just spend the entire game camping the back as a battleship. Learn to know when you have the advantage and push your advantage. We get second on the team only to the Vladdy, who had, like I said, the most ridiculous RNG out of a Vladdy I've ever seen. And he gets top of the leaderboard, rightfully so. Now, this match here is more along, this one's going to be kind of, this is going to be the opposite of the last one. The last one was all about knowing when you have the advantage and when to push. This one is going to be knowing when you're out of your advantage and when you need to halt. Wait for your team. And pray to God that somebody actually comes forward to help. We're, again, in the Amagi. We're going to push around the right side on Sea of Fortune. Now, this is a long game push, okay? This is not something that you get away with easily in this particular map. But when it works, it is absolutely beautiful. And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to push all the way around the outside edge and see if we can't help. But there's going to be a few key moments in this game that I think actually swing the battle completely. And I'll show you those pretty soon. And some moments that could have swung the battle the other direction. So we're going to try to point those out as we get to them. And don't get me wrong, this is a great game in the Amagi. This is not, you know, just an average game. This is a pretty solid Amagi game. So you got that to look forward to. We get some ridiculous moments in this. But we're going to push around the right. You can see a smoke screen. I checked to see if there were any cruisers that have smoke screens. There aren't. So that is a destroyer over here. Now, the good news is a destroyer smoking up there means he's helping a teammate. Usually a cruiser. And so we know that the destroyer doesn't have a smoke screen, right? And you can see auto aim starts to screw up here, but I get my auto aim back, or get my sights on target, and we get our shot out. And look at that dispersion. This is gonna hurt a lot. And yeah. 20,000 damage, no citadel, just an absolute monster hit from one Amagi to another. But Z-35 gets spotted by our destroyer. Our destroyer is a lay terrible, and so I know that he should be able to win a gunfight with the Z-35, but I'm not going to take the chance either. I'm going to get up in here. I'm going to help him win this gunfight. I am going to hit this man as hard as I can hit him with my battleship. Now, I got AP loaded, which isn't the greatest, but again, it's not the worst coming from a battleship when your average damage is 1,400 with overpins, and we punch him for 5,000 damage, and then he immediately dies to our York. Keep that in mind. Now, look on the map and look at what my team is doing. I've got 2 battleships following me around this side, and 2 cruisers behind them following me around this side. So I can't sit here and just watch things happen. Now, we've got this mains. I'm trying to decide if he's going forward or reverse. It's very difficult from here, and you can see auto-aim doesn't know either, so I just take the shot. I'm like, okay, I think he's mostly stationary. And sure enough, I fire at him, and you'll see his smoke start up, and he starts trying to get away from it. But he is going to take a little bit of a hit here for 4,300. But this is where we know we have the advantage. We have to push. Okay, now the thing that I do wrong here is I don't really look to see what the ships are that are with me. Okay, knowing that, I should have known that I'm outrunning them. Okay, so keep that in mind. The Amagi is certainly not a slow battleship as we take a shot at this main. And I also play this fight against the mains a little bit poorly, as we get 5 overpins on a mains. I thought he was dev-struck right there, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know why everybody else's mains gets overpinned, because my mains gets citadel every time. Every time. Doesn't matter what shoots it, from what angle, doesn't matter. If I'm in the mains, it gets citadel every time. But we see the keys back out here. So we're lining up a shot. We were hoping to get a shot over this island, but unfortunately that's not the case. We can't quite lob the island. So we're gonna turn in and just try to use our guns as much as we can. We've got the front guns finally. We can't swing the rear because we'll run into the island, and that was awful dispersion, but we still get a decent result out of it. And now we're going to swing out, we're going to get those rear guns involved, and he's actually going to catch me off guard here. He actually didn't fire all of his guns. I thought he did, but he's going to have the rear guns loaded, and he's going to catch me a little bit broadside here. Which could have been really bad for me. But we get a citadel. That's what I'm talking about by aiming towards the back of the ship. If you can hit towards that rear gun, as we get touched by the key and set on fire twice by the mains, that was a very premature freaking damage con right there. I should not have damage con there. Why? You'll see here in a moment. As we need to keep pushing towards the next big island, we have a beautiful look at a broadside Miyoko out in the distance. And this is just, you love to see it. You know what I'm saying? You'll love to see it. As we take the shot with the rear guns and, you know, let them figure out where they're going to land. And sure enough, we managed to get a citadel out of it. And now we're up to 81,000 damage. Now watch. We're already single fired again. And I knew that I needed to make this push. This is why I say that I should have let that double fire burn a little bit longer. Because I could have avoided quite a bit of damage here. But he gets me double fired again with 40 seconds before I can get this thing back off of its heel. Or back off of the cooldown. I do have a heal coming up, which is going to save my life, actually. Pretty sure that if it wasn't for this heal, I would have died. But, you know, you live and learn. There are things that I still screw up. You guys have seen my streams. I'm not perfect, never claimed to be. I'm still learning how to play the game just as much as anybody else. But this is the moment that I was telling you about trying to recognize when you don't have the advantage and when you need to wait. Okay, we have a North Carolina way out there. We're on fire twice. We're spotted. We've got a key trying to get out here to torp us. We've got a mains trying to get into a position to continue to lob the island to finish me off. And you can see I have 1 fire left. There's no reason for me to use my damage con here. The reason being, if I were to use that, there's a good chance I get double fired again real soon. So I'm not going to. I just let it burn out. We got another heal. We just got to bide our time. Sometimes you just got to be patient. Now, you'll see that I was requesting help, and my teammates, to their credit, are pushing towards me to help me. One of them's about to get into will to rebuild range, and that's going to help out tremendously. And you can see I'm trying to figure out what I should do. I know that the fires are out. I know that the mains is still there, and I want to wait for the mains to screw up. A lot of times, cruisers, if they run out of options to shoot at, they make stupid mistakes, and this guy's no different. He's going to make a stupid mistake as we start to reverse out to shoot at this key. Now, I heard torpedoes go behind me. That's why I'm reversing out here like this. I also know that I have 3 guns or 6 guns at the back of the ship that I can reach around the island with and finish this man off easily, getting another citadel to finish him off. Now, this main's pushed up. He got himself too close to the friendlies, whether it be the cruisers or the battleships. Somebody's about to touch this man. And he's about to lose most of his hit points as we start to go forward. Again, I didn't want to back out just in case I was wrong. Maybe he had torpedoes off the other side, and now he's got them off this side. So I don't want to continue to back out. We want to take that completely out of the the question, as Mainz just gets absolutely railed. I don't know if that was the Colorado behind me or the other battleship, but somebody reached out and touched this man. And we are going to get a little bit of payback on this Mainz for all of the fire damage that he caused me. And we are going to reach up and touch him. Now, he has AP loaded, which is actually best case scenario for me. I didn't want him to hit me with HE, but he does get some damage off of us because we are broadside, and he does have pretty good AP, as we demonstrated against the broadside Vanguard in our Meet the Mines video. Now, this is a game that could easily swing either way right now. We killed a destroyer early, which is huge. Helping your destroyer get rid of another destroyer frees up your destroyer late game to do amazing things. Now, each team has a destroyer. We have the ship advantage, which means we have the points advantage. However, they have 2 caps. We only have 1, which means they are digging into our points lead quite quickly. So we need to do something about that. We need to do one of 2 things. We need to either kill ships consistently, get rid of them as quickly as we can, or we need to capture a base, or at least stop them from getting points from a base. Okay? And so I'm going to try to put myself in a position. Now, knowing that they have a destroyer and a cruiser on the backside of this island right now, I did not want to push into that little gap. That does not leave me any room to wiggle around or do any sort of positioning or anything like that. So if I come around to this side, I can actually see what's there before I go around the corner as I put up my spotter plane, and that's all I'm doing here. I'm putting up the spotter plane solely to make sure that I know who is here. And I'm mostly worried about where that destroyer is. I know that the battleship's there, I know that the cruiser's there, but we're not spotting the destroyer. So I'm fairly confident that the destroyer is not currently right there. And so I'm going to push up. I am not going to YOLO in when I know that there are so many people against me. Okay, it's just not going to be a thing. Now, this cruiser is going to make a huge mistake. This is a Cleveland right next to me. He's going to make a huge mistake. He is going to YOLO around the corner. I don't know if he just misunderstood my my play here, but he makes the wrong move. I don't go around the corner because I'm low health and I know what's waiting for me. There's a Georgia sitting there waiting. There's a Miyoko waiting. They both want to kill me, and the Miyoko has torpedoes, and this Miyoko is the most lucky motherfucker on the planet. Watch what this man gets away with. I'm serious. Just watch. It's disgusting. This man should die right about... Wait for it. I don't want to fire early and shoot the island. Right there. This is death. But it's not. Overpin number 1. All of my shells missed except 1. You gotta love it. Then he turns out... I can't use the rear guns here because there's Georgia is reversing. He's trying to get out to shoot me. Their Miyoko is about to give up a juicy broadside. Their Colorado's sitting back there spamming me, getting ready to try to do damage to me. Luckily, he's just bad. But Miyoko goes full broadside again. Look at this salvo. That's death. Unless, of course, you're a cruiser. Because bad players get rewarded. That's just the way it is. I'm sorry if this person is watching. Yes, I just technically called you a bad player, but that was a boneheaded play that you just pulled. You got very lucky to not be removed the first shot, let alone the second shot. And then Georgia comes around the corner, and he gets a ridiculous salvo on me right here. I was not anticipating how much damage he was about to hit me for. But he hits me so hard as we kill him. We knew we were going to kill him, but I was not anticipating taking that kind of damage. As we lost our Cleveland... And now I'm requesting support. Now, anybody should know by now that will to rebuild is a thing, right? Will to rebuild exists. If a battleship captain on your team is spamming requesting support and you are nearby, just look at his health and see if it's will to rebuild. If it is, just get a little bit closer so that you can will to rebuild each other. It is counterintuitive to let your teammates die. Okay? Now, this... Colorado that's out here, I believe it's Colorado, that's out behind me, he, again, just like the Cleveland, misinterprets what he should be doing. Now, you could look at this and go, well, Spartan, come on. He's going out there, he's trying to put himself in a position to get a shot on people. You're correct. However, he's also a Tier 6 battleship, and he could easily help a much better battleship help carry the match by getting a little bit closer. It doesn't need to be much. He can stay basically right there. He just needs to get a little bit closer. But he doesn't do that. So I have no choice but to resort to island hopping. North Carolina makes a stupid play here and comes out full broadside, knowing that I existed. Didn't have a care in the world, and he is going to get blapped. There goes all of his hit points. 30,000 damage. We got our high caliber, we got our citadel, and we get to disappear again. And now, the Miyoko is coming out for round number 2. North Carolina, again, just lost 30,000 hit points in one salvo. Just lost 30,000 hit points in one salvo. What does he do? He just keeps sailing broadside. If it worked once, it'll work again, right? So we take the shot, and what's our result? Well, in true Spartan fashion, we leave him with just enough to get away. And you can see I start spamming him. Dude has no health. Get rid of that man. And they do. Leon manages to finish him off. And then this Miyoko. Like, at this point, I thought, okay, well, there's a good chance, as our Colorado finishes their Colorado, there's a good chance that we win this match now. But it still could go either way. This Miyoko is trapped behind this island. If he just stays behind the island, there's a good chance we lose this. Our destroyer versus their destroyer? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work out. Unfortunately, it does not work out. Their destroyer kills our destroyer. But fortunately, the Miyoko makes the one mistake too many, and he absolutely pays the price, and I get the Citadel. Couldn't get it earlier, but by God, when he has no hit points left, that's when I get the Citadel every time, right? And at this point, I knew the game was won. There's no way to lose. We have enough of a points lead. We have 2 caps to their 1. At this point, he doesn't have enough time to finish capping the base and flip the points lead. All we have to do is not die and we win. Okay? Now, the reason I say that this game was fantastic and there was a lot... there was a lot of teaching moments in this game that really does show aggressiveness, also patience, also making sure that you don't make the dumb play. There are a lot of moments in World of Warships Legends that can result in a dumb play. And the Cleveland made one, the North Carolina made one, the Georgia blapped me, but paid the price. I'll take his trade. Like, he actually had a little bit of a trade there. I honestly didn't think he had the angle to do that to me, but fortunately we survived that. Barely. But we got to finish him off. We won that trade, and we held down the anchor on our team. Like, we straight up held this so hard. We get our fireproof, we get our dreadnought, we get all the things, man. All the medals that you get that really show that you were beneficial to your team. 184,000 damage, 2,990 base XP, top of the leaderboard, fireproof, dreadnought, high caliber, absolutely clutching it up. So if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.